I want to introduce you guys to a very special little gosling. Aww. So we recently hatched out a whole bunch of goslings on our farm, and one of the goslings I've noticed has had a little bit of a development issue. If you look at their bill, you can see it's kind of a little goofy, a little bit weird.
I'm weird. I'm a weirdo.
It's a phenomenon known as crossbeak or scissor beak. It's not all that uncommon in chickens.
Hi, what's up?
But I've actually never seen it in a goose. But this little one seems to have a development problem with its mouth. Here, little one, we're gonna set you down right here. We're gonna take a look at you. Hey, Toby, what are you doing? I'm just hanging out here with this little gosling. So my goslings are now about 5 days old, 4.5 days old. It's sort of like crisscross applesauce. It kind of goes like it's almost scissors and it's a little bit crooked. So like if you do a comparison to one of its brothers and sisters who's exactly the same age to this one, you'll notice that its bill is sort of crossed. You know, over the years, especially like on YouTube, I feel like I've seen about 1 million videos about scissor-beaked chickens. I don't think I've ever seen a scissor-beaked goose, but I do believe that scissor-beaked geese are extremely rare. As far as all the research I've done, there isn't much I can do to correct it. Like, could I build almost like braces to straighten out its bill? You know, the more I've read up on this, the more it seems like there's not much to be done. This poor little one's just gonna have this deformity. I do long-term worry about what it's gonna mean for this little one. You know, geese in particular are supposed to eat grass, and their bills are specially designed with like little teeth both on their bills and on their tongue to help rip and shred that grass. I just hope this little one's able to do that. If not, I might have to put it on like a special diet of some sort. I mean, so far right now, this little one is doing okay. They're actually one of the biggest goslings we have right now. That in and of itself isn't bad. If I was gonna guess, I actually think it's a cross between like a Toulouse and a buff goose. So part of me does wonder how this would have happened because I believe this sort of deformity is like a genetic thing, but those are some pretty diverse genetics it has. I would have thought that the hybrid vigor would have made it a pretty successful bird. But yeah, I do wonder about whether or not this little one's gonna grow up okay. But I'm gonna give it my best shot possible and trying to make sure that it grows up to be a happy and healthy bird. So little one, I know you're not gonna grow up to be a happy and healthy bird if you spend too much time hanging out with Molly Murder Mittens. She would end you right quick. Molly, I know you're a sweet, sweet girl, but I also know you can't resist a tasty little morsel like this. All right, come on. Let's get you back in with your brothers and sisters. Hey, little gooselings. How's everybody doing? There you go, back with your family. So yeah, the goslings overall have been doing really well. Everybody's gotten pretty big. All right, let's go see what else is going on around the farm. You know, speaking of geese with developmental disabilities, I don't know if you guys remember Lenny the goose. Lenny was a gosling we hatched out last year, and she had some leg and back and walking problems. And well, the good news is that Lenny actually grew up really well, and she is healthy. And by the way, I thought he was a he, but it turns out she's a she. And despite getting picked on by the other geese, has done pretty well in adapting. Now here's Lenny as an adult goose, and you can see her, and she's actually sitting on a nest now. I'm not sure if she's gonna be successful with this nest. She kind of picked like the worst place possible. She's not exactly the brightest goose in the world, but she's doing well. So it does give me some hope for our little scissor-billed bird. Maybe they'll end up doing okay too. It really is on me to nurture and support them and see that things turn out okay. Or at least do my very best. Isn't that right, Abby Dabby Doo? Release the Kraken! This egg that fell down is broken. That means we have some treats for the dogs. I know you are the most eager for this. Are you gonna sit like a good girl sits? Yes, you are. There you go, buddy. Let's see if Carmen the chicken tries to get in here and steal a little bit of it. Toby usually lets her take the shell. Carmen, you are the gutsiest chicken. You know, Carmen is actually one of my best mama chickens, and the reason she's actually not with all the other chickens out there is because I want to keep her here. She might be doing a little hatching help for me later this year. Her as well as a couple of our weird chickens. And so that's why you see those chickens that are around here. You know, I have a handful of like some of my older gals who actually still live in the duck house. That's the plan for them. But speaking of my chickens, let's go check on our other chickens here, huh? See how they're doing. I've moved them down a little ways, but they're still on this side of the pasture. I got the cattle on that side of the pasture. But later in this video, we will move move the cattle. How's it going, chickens? Huh? Good to see ya. Everybody's good. The new mobile chicken coop continues to work out well. I've had fewer and fewer escapees. These gals are getting used to things. So far I've moved it once, and later today I'm gonna move them over there, but I probably won't do the actual move until tonight. I find that it's easier to move them when everybody goes back into the house themselves versus me trying to chase them. So we got a couple folks sitting on roosts. It looks like we got one gal sitting in a nesting box. I really do feel like keeping these guys inside here has become the easiest way to manage chickens. I set their food and water out last night, so there's like nothing for me to do with the chickens today. They're getting like leftover galore here. My wife Allison is gluten-free, and so she's always experimenting with weird pastas, and this is like a cauliflower pasta that is absolutely disgusting. And so it only took one attempt at a meal with that before we were like, yeah, let's get this out of here. Barbara the chicken, what are you doing out here? She was actually staying in the duck house, and she's been staying in the duck house, but seems like she's coming out here and she wants to hang out with these guys. I don't know, maybe she'll change flock allegiances. So the cattle have been doing really good on pasture. I'm getting ready to do really the first of the regular pasture moves today. I still have this one problem of an occasional calf sneaking out. But other than that, things are going pretty well. What you up to there, Jimi Hendrix? The rest of your herd's over there. You're stuck over here. Can I convince you to go back under the wire? I know there's some spots that are just high enough for you to slip through. Come on, buddy. You're ripping this up. I really wanted to try to regrow through some grass here. Your mom's right there, you see her? Almost. Is that a no? Okay, it's a hard no. I'm not too worried. He'll move when everybody else moves. Of course, he just spooked the ducks. They're like, what the heck was that? So you guys might notice that Abby is nowhere to be found right now. She's actually up by the duck house. I can see her over there. So I was really worried about Abby with the cattle, but fortunately, I think I accidentally traumatized her. You know, in the other video when she nosed up against the fence, that has left her absolutely terrified of the cattle area. And so she now wants like nothing to do with them, which from a result perspective is not the worst thing in the world, but I would have loved to have done it differently. So what do you say, guys? You ready to get a move on? I know, Kurt, that was an awful pun. When these cattle first came to this farm, they were terrified, and they spent like the first, I don't know, three and a half days that they were on the farm, loose and on the run. But I feel like I put in a lot of effort to train them and get them comfortable with me. That should mean that as I move them to fresh pasture today, this should hopefully be easy. Oh, they're all following me. That's a good sign. Been using these cans to retrain them to the fence. I saw one of the calves the other day really lick it and got a good shock. Which is how your calves learn to respect the fence. Respect my authority! So now I actually want to move them pretty high up the hill, but I don't want to rush it. And so I'm going to let them graze this patch here for today. And then tomorrow I'll move them further up. And then not this alley, not the next alley, but 3 alleys up. So when I say alley, I mean like the space between the trees. I'll actually send them down and then start moving them all through there. They really want that fresh grass. I've been supplementing their feed with hay, but honestly, they don't really care about the hay. They just want grass. Now, you might be looking at all this and saying that this area that I have selected here is rather small for 9 animals. But again, remember, they're only gonna be on here for about 24 hours. And so the idea is they graze all of this down and then I move them further up the hill tomorrow. And I can tell they're really getting antsy. So let's move them and I can keep talking to you. All right, well, here we go. It's time for the first pasture move of 2022. Let's go, guys. Come on, cows. Hey, Kurt, you know, there's plenty of space. You're blocking the lane here. Everybody else wants to move. He always does this. He's the bossiest cow, but he always seems to like block the gate, especially if I have a narrow opening like this one. But I'm not too worried. They're gonna find their way out. See, traffic jam is already breaking up. But just watch how quickly they eat. Pretty incredible. Hey, Joey, you don't have to run away. The calves are still a little skittish with me, admittedly. The moms are really good with me though, so I got that going for me. Now let's take care of Jimi Hendrix, because I can hear him crying for his mama. I don't want him to get unhappy here, or her to get all riled up. Oh, see, there goes Joey Ramone. Okay, Jimmy, you're left behind. I have a plan to help you. I've seen like ranchers do this where they'll actually make a gate for their animals by using like just a stick. And so let's try it. I'm gonna stick it down here in the mud. So now what it does is it rises up. And Toby Dog, you wanna help me out? I know you and Jimmy are cool. Come on, buddy, you gotta go that way. Oh, he sees the hole. Is he gonna make a break for it, or is he too scared of the fence? He's still figuring this one out. Hello, sir. Can you go over there? Not over there. Is he gonna try to go around to see his family now? Because everybody's up there. You got this, kid. Come on, right by Toby. Right by Toby. Toby's showing you the way, man. I guess the good thing is he's learning about the fence. Clearly has a respect for it. It's not even on, kid. The funny part is he's like crying and his mom doesn't even care. She's like, nope, I'm eating fresh grass, leave me alone. I mean, he slipped out so he could slip in. He just Matt's afraid. Maybe he goes through the alley. So I have trees planted on this side and this side, but I have these swales. And so you could probably slip under the swale if you wanted. Look, you can totally get underneath it. Look, I'm raising it up as high as I possibly can. He does not want to be under that fence line. It's so interesting to think like a cow sometimes. There you go. I ended up using this black locust tree as a fence post, basically. It's kind of cool to know that the permaculture trees are getting that big. I mean, he was out here ever since I came out here this morning, so who knows how long he's been wandering the farm. Which I guess is why it's so important to have good perimeter fencing, so that if the daily stuff breaks down, you're not like chasing cattle out of traffic. All right, let's turn the fence back on. I hope you guys have enjoyed this update around the farm. If you're curious about stories on other special goslings we've had around the farm, I'll leave a link for this video right here, or you can check out this video here, which talks about how I raise my cattle on pasture. Thanks for watching, everybody.